I spent 44 hours building in Minecraft. I have ready 10 images that I completely recreated. It was day 1. I decided to start with this treasure island that has a moon shape. The reason is that the first thing I wanted to learn is how to make terrain and landscape with Axiom. Then I focused on replicating all the other things. The trees, the shipwreck, the chest and the barrel. I like to think that a build has a story. In this case, this is an island that everyone wanted to reach. One day someone arrived, but the waves were too strong and their ship got destroyed. The treasure remained there. Everyone thought that the island was cursed. You can get there, but you can't get out. So in the future, no one else ever came again. I remade all the coastline because I wanted it to be smooth. The shade starts from the sand, then goes in deep slate and andesite. Gradually you go deeper in the ocean. There is only a main road, made up of materials that reminds white gravel, that leads at the biggest rock in the island. This rock kinda reminds me the shape of a shark's head, and on the side has a stair that I made for aesthetic. If I'm being objective, is a decent build. My favorite part for sure is the shipwreck. I'm gonna give a 6.5 out of 10 on this one. After the first day, I was kinda happy. I spent 6 hours and I did something I'd never done before. So I was feeling that for the next day I had to do something in a bigger scale. This is the second picture from the Super Mario movie. The reasons why it was my choice is because I wanted to see what I was able to do with a bigger landscape. And the main reason was to try to build the tree at the center of the scene. It was my first time building a tree in the scale, and this is the result. It took me some time, but it was definitely worth it. I know I'm using shaders, but at night the atmosphere seems magical. Now, the proportions are not correctly. The tree in the back was supposed to be farther away, but I already started building on a 200x200. Second thing, the road that cut the scene in half was not in the picture, but I decided that it was a good addition. In fact, imagine walking on this road. Look at this view, it's actually incredible. Moving the focus to the fields, I tried to place all the fire flowers in different areas, leaving also some empty space. I made 2 versions of the fire flower and I really like these designs. This is the mini version that I used the most because it was better for the scale of the build, and then here and there are the normal ones. Maybe with the time they grew and they are the olders. The tree in the center is obviously the main focus. Only this one took me more than half the time of the entire build. You need to follow specific steps. First, make the main trunk, second, all the branches, and if it's necessary, mini branches. Then focus on the leaves, and at last, paint everything. So, proportion 4 out of 10. Look or atmosphere, I don't wanna give a 10 because later I made something insane. Details, 7. I think with this one I improved making terrain with Axiom, but there are things I need to work on. Probably the shadows and the colors, but I'm pretty sure I will slowly find the best techniques. Even the second day came to an end, and since I had already made a lot of terrain, I shifted the focus to something different. In the third day, I built not 1 but 2 images. The new concept was statues. The reason why this is more difficult is because in order to make them, you need to start seeing the shapes inside the characters. For example, in this one there is a cone with a rhombus in front of it and a kind of cylinder on top. Make the heads of the wolf and the cat was the real challenge. I spent a lot of time finding something that looked presentable, and I arrived at this conclusion. I would say it's decent. I really like how I made the details, starting from the altar at the bottom that has these branches that wrap around the whole build. The side view is also not bad. You can clearly see the heads and the other shapes. I didn't know if I was convincing my brain to accept that it was decent, but in reality it was awful, so I immediately jumped in the next one. But now I knew what to improve and I was ready. I like to think that this angel was a statue from an ancient civilization, and the legend says that once he gives his word to the rightful person, he will fly again. The sword is still here, and this means also the owner. This time I learned the lessons. I divided the shapes perfectly. At first I made the body, then the arms, the head, and the wings, that are actually one of my favorite parts. I didn't expect to make them so well. I imagine having a light source in the sky so he hits the statue from above, and as you can see, the shadows are below the wings and the body. I like the idea that this could be considered an expensive build, so I used netherite blocks to make the void on the face and the sleeves. Instead, talking about the bottom, I made a sphere cut in half for the terrain, added bushes and branches. The candle's design turned out decently, the colors are fine, and I copy-paste and flip them all around in the exact position of the picture. Over time, the vegetation grew and started infesting the structure, reaching also the wings. I had low expectation on the sword, but it turned out to be my second favorite part. 8, 10, 7. 7 because I need to practice using more slabs, stairs, fences and these kind of things to make the build more alive. General vote 8. I couldn't believe I was learning this fast, so for the next day the plan was switching the topic from statues to random. And it seems easy, but I decided to take not 1, not 2, but 3 builds in one day. I need to explain how I entered this place. This is the Limbo. Every time my character sleeps, he joins here, where he generates picture, based on what he wants to improve or what he dreams about. During the day, he's not here, so I'm free to come and represent his ideas. And this is me writing the script. Don't look me like that. Day 4, the first image was a creeper with a cowboy hat, and the main goal for this day was just build to mark consistency. So I had a special idea for this one, but first obviously I made it. I instantly won the focus on the head that took me the most amount of time, but the shapes turned out perfect. I had zero expectations, so I was impressed. The shadow with the dark oak is amazing, and just because it's not a cowboy, I made a gold gunpowder as a symbol, instead of the normal gold star. The creeper in reality is a simple creeper in a bigger scale, but making its texture was so much fun. It's based on the TNT's colors, with the top and the bottom red and the middle white. And the mini TNT is supposed to be his art. It's special because if we go inside the door, this is actually a functioning creeper farm. It might not be the most efficiency, but just imagine having this in the sky in your world, would be so cool. The second image is this tall island, but I replaced the house on top with a windmill. The story says that 500 years ago, a guy believed the existence of this island, completely full of gold. But everyone was making fun of him, so he decided to set off. After weeks spent sailing the ocean, he was right. The island was there, but he had a lot of work to do. And this is 4 years later. He built a windmill as a house and farms to have a food source. He wanted to live, he wanted to look at the stars in the night sky and dream with them. The vegetation grew all over the place, giving new trees and flora. He found a single source of drinking water that leads his path all the way to an outflow pipe that carries all the water in the ocean. The most important thing, he was right, the island was full of gold. In the first mine, he was sending the TNTs in to blow up the rock. Inside there was the extraction cave, where all the gold was moved out in the second mine entrance. But after everything, he decided to don't tell anyone about the island and live there forever. I was testing whether storytelling would improve the motivation to build, and maybe I was right. This build took only 1.5 hours, so I chose to try it also for the third. I saw this as a magical plant that comes out from the water. Someone, probably a dragon, made this magma egg that now was about to break. But the magic of the plant touched the egg, so when it happened, another egg is already grown inside, ready to take its spot. Every 100 years, a new dragon comes to life. The egg is placed on a nice position. The light of the giant flower keeps it warm, also during the night. This build was technically easy to make. I had realized at this point all the basics on how to use Axiom. The hardest parts were obviously the flowers and the egg. Time spent 5, 1.5, 1.5 and 8 hours total. I was feeling confident, and for the following day the plan was to change topic again. My character woke up, I woke up, and as usual joined the Limbo. In day 5 I had 2 builds from Japan, and I decided to keep the focus on the proportions. This is the first image. Look carefully on all the details I'm going to circle, because those are the ones I replicated perfectly. The terrain is simple and the path leads at the center of the temple. On the right, the lantern, which is decent in my opinion. And moving on its side, we can find the little pond. This is one of my favorite parts. I learned to make shadow cracks between the rocks, and I used the cactus flower plus warped trapdoor to make these kinda lily pads. The rocks that didn't touch the water for a long time become more dry, and I represent them with dripstone. Behind the temple we can find some bamboo plants and a bush that surrounds the side of the build. This is supposed to be the protector that holds a sacred veil that only the pure one can wear. The temple is symmetrical, and since it's been here for a long time, the windows was starting to decay. Going up there is the gong that takes power from the 4 gold blocks around it. On top the temple ends with 2 golden wings, and the main flag moved by the wind. I kept the proportions so well, but I wanna also say good on look and details. All pretty much balanced, both 9. But the next one was something very special. It's a torii, but I decided to make it on a big scale. I chose to start with the top, that was the part I was worried the most. But there are too many things to say, so let's jump directly into it. All the things I understood till this point were come together. It's hard to explain, but in simple words, these are all shapes. Maybe I made 5% by hand. So I somehow managed to make the roof. These tubes are hollow bamboo pieces. In fact, I used black concrete to try to replicate the emptiness. The roof is held by a large wooden plank. The upper part of the torii has 2 diorite rocks. Then we can pass on the middle part, my favorite. On the sides of the bigger red plank, there is this golden part that hangs very smoothly in a car. At the center, some symbols. I don't think they mean something, I made them random to fit the space. Iconic is the rope. It turned out amazing. It keeps the build static and avoids the collapse of the structure. There are 4 hanging lanterns. I made a blue design and a yellow design, but I like both of them. The structure ends with 2 big rocks at the bottom and a giant circle with a golden border. And who knows, if you believe enough, maybe it takes you somewhere. What an incredible day. There was only one left, the last one. The plan was simple, practicing the thing I struggled the most. So, organics. In the last day was me against one single build, this one. I don't even know right now what kind of animal it is. I presume it's a sort of blue monkey. Anyway, I think this is the build with the most precision on the proportion I made. So let's take a look. On every side I was looking, it was perfect. Obviously, at this type of builds, if you watch them too close, it's not the same effect that from far away. That looks amazing. The bamboo with these lines of birch, the ends that grab the bamboo, the tails that gets tangled in it, the ears, the face, and most important, the whole logic based on the gravity that pulls him in the ground and makes the arm stretched, tending to hold the whole body. Maybe this wasn't the most majestic build of all, but it's the most complete for sure and maybe my favorite. It takes too much to explain everything. The thing I could have done better, probably the details. What a journey, and maybe all of this time is gonna go directly in the void, but it doesn't matter. Hope you enjoyed.